she's the power lefty for sure.
Ashton Maloney to step in and start things off for Texas in our 2-3 matchup, and she slices one out to left, and the leadoff is aboard. Here's Caden Henry, the sophomore, playing center field. They move their outfielders around a bit. They have some depth out there. More on that when they take the field, but their lineup's been pretty entrenched in terms of the batting order. Their top 6, as dynamic as it gets. In the quarterfinal yesterday, they hit .473 with a .695 OB, scored 6 runs and drove in 7 runs. Those top 6 in the lineup. Check swing, pops it, and it's caught for a double play. Towards second. Not many get to that one, but Coco Woolley does.
When it's a check swing, you have to wonder if it was a hit and run, because Maloney needs to be identifying that right away, that is up in the air. Easily a double play. Great job by Coco Woolley.
I think she thought it was going to drop, and that's why she took a couple of steps towards second base. I mean, and that's how fast Coco Woolley is. Talk about her offensively, but she gets to a lot of balls on defense too with short.
So with 2 out, it's Mia Scott. Janae Jefferson left Texas a couple of years ago. Now she's on the U.S. national team. Mia is right there behind her in just about everything statistically at Texas. One of their all-time greats. She's hit in 15 of her last 16 games.
I just feel like she plays the game so freely. She's not a player that is what it seems like puts a lot of pressure on herself. She swings free, she plays free, plays just a lot of fun when she's out there.
That one missed away from Kennedy. With over 500 career strikeouts.
Her already starting to throw that changeup a little bit more in this first inning, Michelle. That's a different look, a pitch that she's battled with throughout her career. More of a power pitcher, hasn't really been able to find a lot of consistency with that changeup, and already Coach Ford is going to come out and chat with her. But that changeup a pitch she has to have.
100%.
She's been working on it and is feeling better about it here toward the end of the season.
Tricia Ford, one of the best in the business, working with pitchers. Now in her 3rd season. Year 1 was a trip to the regionals. Year 2, a trip to the super regionals. They took Texas to the brink. And year 3, a lot of folks in Aggieland thinking about that World Series. And there's Mike White in his 7th season at Texas. 2 of the last 3 years, they've run into Oklahoma in the National Championship Series. Scott, Oppo, and on the move is Kramer Echte. It's a 1-2-3 start for Emily Kennedy. Aggies picking up the bats. We come back.
The 2025 SEC Softball Tournament on ESPN2 is presented by T-Mobile 5G Home Internet.
A&M coming up here in the bottom of the 2nd. Look at their lineup. Maya Perez, big day against South Carolina last night with the 5 RBI. KK to Men also had a home run and 4 ribs. And those 2 anchored the way for them at a 12-4 one-rule win to knock out the Gamecocks and get them into the semis. Pitching, going up against the pitcher Mac Morgan today, the senior from Creighton, Missouri. Everything low, low, low.
Call her a ground ball specialist.
What is about 90% drop balls, right?
Warm burners. Anything that describes that ball being hit on the ground, that would be Mac Morgan.
All down all the time, both sides of the plate. You're right, 90%.
Boom. Kennedy Powell in that leadoff spot. Junior from Conroe, Texas. So we told you how good the Texas top 6 were yesterday. The A&M top 6 were even better. And that's why they hit 500 and were on base 75% of the time, and Powell aboard.
Kennedy Powell has some slap power. Hit that slap home run yesterday, but that's a rarity for her first of the year, but has a lot of pop off the bat and a more power slap going down to get that drop ball.
Threat to steal a base or two. There's Coco Woolley. This speed can really do some damage if you're not ready for it. And a reminder that Texas up the middle, Katie Stewart is recently just moved from the outfield to short, and Leanne Good moved from short to second base. So something to keep in mind with the short gamers and the speedy base runners tonight.
You know that A&M is scouting that as well. They actually played Texas in the fall, and that was right around the time that Vivi Martinez got injured. So Katie Stewart was playing shortstop in that game when they played that fall game.
The other noteworthy defender, of course, is the catcher Reese Atwood, who last year was the all Big 12 defensive catcher of the year, and this year all SEC. Who's not the easiest to run on.
No, she's good behind the dish, but it is interesting. We did ask Mike White why he decided at this point in the season, just 5 games ago, to bring Katie Stewart back to shortstop. He said it was really to get Leanne Good back to second base, which is her natural position. By having Leanne Good at shortstop, Katie Stewart in the outfield, it had 3 or 4 players out of position. And this way, with Katie Stewart at shortstop, it's just 1 player out of position. He feels like this is a more natural defensive lineup.
Full count here to Woolley with Powell on first. Lost her.
To build off of what you guys just said, it's so nice for Texas to have a player like Mia Scott hold down third base, and her quickness and ability to hit a shot that's at her with power and come up and field a bunt. I mean, she is just so fast defensively on the left side.
So trouble already brewing for Texas A&M with a single and a walk. And it's Maya Perez who's been their best hitter this year, the sophomore. Hitting close to 450 with runners in scoring position.
450 with 14 home runs. I mean, it just brings the best of both worlds, average and power.
She had a 2-run home run last night, a ground out to drive in a run, and then a 2-run single last night.
Ooh.
Took Atwood's glove off.
Yeah, see, that's going to be catcher's interference.
Yes.
Boy, and that's dangerous. That's how a lot of catchers break their hands. Drop ball on the inner half, and you just see that swing of Perez, the way she just digs deep.
You saw that in her opposite field home run yesterday too. She really works in a deep window with her swing, and Reese Atwood likes to be a little bit closer. Hopefully her hand is feeling okay after that, but you really saw it in that opposite field home run or look down the left field line, just what her swing is capable of and how early she gets on plane.
Of course, another interesting subplot here is the starting pitcher today, Mac Morgan, used to play for Texas A&M coach Trish Ford when they were both at Arizona State not so long ago. Transfer portal for players and coaches. And now on opposite sides tonight. Here's Mac Barbara, bases loaded. The senior from Long Beach, 5 for 9 on the year with 1 grand slam the first weekend of the season. She transferred in from San Diego State, and on that opening weekend, she hit 3 home runs and drove in 13.
She's been the DP most of the year, has been catching the last 6-7 games.
Single, a walk, and a catcher interference. Loading them up, nobody out.
That's a good pitch right there. And that's what Mac Morgan is trying to do. Find the outside corner against these left-handed hitters, throwing a little bit too far out. That first strike that Mac Barbara had seen was right down the heart of the plate.
Staying low and away.
As a hitter, you're, especially with a runner at third base, you're trying to get the bottom half of the ball and trying to lift the ball to the outfield. She wants you to hit the top of the ball. You're trying to get the bottom half of the ball. And it's your job right now to find either a ground ball to the right side of the field or a fly ball to the outfield.
Staying outside, so Mac can't do that, and she's patient. 3-2. That one a little fat on the plate, and Barbara drives it out to left, and a run will score. The throw down to third, and stepping back in safely is Woolley. But Barbara drives in the first run of the ball game, an RBI single.
Now she gets herself in a leverage count. It's a drop ball so that Morgan has to elevate. She's got to come into the zone with those bases loaded, and Barbara's just going to shoot it through the 5-6 hole. Good job coming behind Katie Stewart, trying to get the throw from Scott.
Still loaded for Amari Harper. And she sends a rope down the right field line. Woolley is in. Here comes Perez as well. And she's able to dive back into the bag safely at second. Harper drives in a couple with a double.
Couple of back-to-back line drive swings, and this is what we're talking about. At least going up to bat against a drop ball pitcher, thinking about getting the bottom half of the ball, and it turns into a line drive. You maybe don't pop it up, but you try to get your barrel underneath the drop ball. Mac Morgan did it, and then Amari Harper turns on it right down the right field line, and quickly A&M is up by 3 with no outs.
Really good when scoring first for the Aggies. And they don't appear to be anywhere near done. With a couple in scoring position, nobody out. KK to Ment. Deep center field. Ashton Maloney's going to run out of room. 3-run home run for the freshman, her 12th of the year.
KK DeMent is a superstar, and you knew it from day one when she stepped onto the campus in College Station. She just has that innate ability to field the ball, to barrel a ball up. This is an elevated drop ball, and she just gets under it, and this ball goes a long, long way. 12th home run of the year for the freshman. You could just hear it off the bat, the way she gets that extension, that ball. No doubt about it.
And just a head down from Mac Morgan.
Well, and it's the takes that A&M has had against Mac Morgan that has led to her elevating the drop ball. They've taken really close pitches and put a lot of pressure on her in this inning, and likely she's about to come out, but those takes led to the hits.
6 have come to the plate. 6 have scored for the Aggies in a pitching change for Texas. Welcome back to the SEC on ESPN. Second semifinal of the night. And for Texas, the most runs they've allowed in any inning this season. Well, unfortunately, they've just hit that number again. 6 have come to the plate. All 6 have scored for the Aggies. The last 3, courtesy of the KK Dement, 3-run home run. And they turn from Mac Morgan to the freshman Cam Salmon. Her 19th appearance. And she comes on with nobody out, and it's the number 7 hitter, Allie Enright. What a start for the Aggies.
Well, we were talking about and trying to guess who's each team going to pitch, and we all thought that it was going to be Mac Morgan get the start for Texas, and I think that A&M clearly was ready for it. The first 6 batters reached safely, crushing the ball, taking close pitches. I think that they were thinking the same thing as well.
This on the heels of a 5-run 5th inning last night. So the last 2 innings, 11 runs scored for Texas A&M. As Salmon gets Enright swinging, or looking one down.
Salmon has a lot of different tools in her toolbox. The biggest one, though, is the ability to throw a screwball. It's almost gyro spin, and it won't just be arm side. She will also throw that on the outer half. So that pitch with good screwball spin, but on the outer corner.
Here's Kramer Eshte. It was off of her bat last night, forcing the 5th error on South Carolina, that they were able to walk it off in 5 innings. Get a little extra rest. Obviously, they've put that to good use here in the 1st inning. Bear in mind, though, Arkansas had a 5-run lead over Oklahoma earlier tonight. That did not hold up.
Can disappear quickly.
Sooners rallied to win it.
A little bit of a chuckle. One of the first things my pitching coach taught me was never walk backwards on the pitching mound or the pitching rubber.
Why is that?
Because you trip.
Oh.
Like Cam did. You can fall.
She's got a couple of strikeouts looking.
I think everybody's trying to figure out this strike zone, because Mac Morgan wasn't getting some of these calls, and neither was Emily Kennedy. But now Salmon comes into the game, and she's getting some of the calls that I don't know if necessarily were getting called up to this point. But got to give her a lot of credit for coming in, being ready to pitch, being warm, and going right at these hitters.
Robbie Guest, Chris Neighbors, Bobby DeMeo, the umpiring crew tonight. So all 9 to the plate here in the 1st inning. This is Kelsey Mathis.
This is a hot A&M offense, too. When you go back to their last game of Game 3 against Tennessee, they run-ruled them, and then a run rule last night against South Carolina. They have scored 32 runs in their last 18 innings against SEC opponents, against top 10, top 15 teams. Kelsey Mathis got a start in the Tennessee series. Freshman who got her first start. It was in game 3 and ended up hitting a home run. Had a big at-bat in last night's game that you guys were calling. With 2 outs, found a way on. A&M explosion after that.
Mathis, fly ball to right. Bennett on the tracks, got it. And finally that inning comes to an end.
You know when these two teams, 1894 on the football field, but then they played 118 consecutive years until Texas A&M left for the SEC. Softball a little more recent. They started playing back in 1997, but Texas does lead this series. The last time they met was in the Super Regional, a 6-5 thriller, and Texas punched their ticket to the Women's College World Series. So you got to believe the Aggies want a little payback here. So far, so good if you're an Aggie fan.
Yeah, they got 6 up on the board in the bottom of the first, and now Reese Atwood coming out fighting. Long fly ball foul for the junior. Just named to the All-SEC first team.
Well, and these two played travel ball together. And Reese caught Emily. So a lot of history it made for in that Super Regional. A lot of challenging at-bats off of Emily Kennedy with the way she saw her in the Super Regional and the way that she knows her.
She knows the power that Reese has and respected that immediately, throwing a really good 57-mile-an-hour off-speed pitch to her.
Gets her to pop it up. KK to Mint. 1 down.
Yeah, and that Super Regional, you guys, I mean, it was just wild times. All 3 games were 1-run games. It was back and forth. Pinch hit, grand slam by Vic Hunter. Pinch hit, 3-run home run in the 7th to tie it by Maya Perez. Trash was coming out of the walls. I mean, it just, pets' heads were falling off. There were dogs on Longhorns, and I'm serious when I say that. It was just a wild Super Regional.
A&M won the first one. And Texas came back to win the second and the third. A&M had chances to win either one of those to advance to the World Series, but A&M held on in Austin. And then when they got to Oklahoma City, they played their way all the way through to the championship series.
Well, and to think that that's a 1 versus 16 matchup. And it was that closely played, and Mike White had said after game 2, if that's a number 16 team, I'm dumbfounded because it was just, plus you added the rivalry aspect, but it was just such a close matchup. But also I think A&M should have been a higher seed than the 16 seed last year.
There's Katie Stewart. Well, we might be having a similar conversation starting on Sunday night because we have the selection show, 2 hours of coverage. Starting at 7 Eastern Sunday night on ESPN2, the field of 64, highlighted by those top 16 seeds that get to stay home and host, and a strikeout. Kennedy gets Stewart 2 down. Both these teams likely to be top 8s.
Kennedy continues to hammer that arm side of the plate, and just really good movement on this pitch. It's got a lot of gyro curve spin on it. Although we know that Emily's not throwing as many curves these days. I'm going to call it a curve.
Smitty will not let that one go.
So it does look like a curve, but what's being called is either a rise ball or a drop ball or a changeup. Those are the 3 pitches that she's throwing this year, but the look of it can 100% be like a curveball.
Yeah, and she's, you know, true lefty fashion, comes from behind her back, so it's hard to see whether or not you're right or left-handed. And when she can bend it just a little bit back over that corner, and you can see
Look
the
at how
splits.
it's changed.
Yeah, and it's changed tremendously because Trisha Ford said you're not throwing the curveball much anymore. You're going to go more up, vertical separation, move that ball up in the zone, change speeds.
Well, when Trisha Ford came in, she took a look at her mechanics and said, you've been more of a downspin pitcher, but your mechanics and the way that your body moves should be more of an upspin pitcher. And so that's a big reason.
On the run in foul territory, and a nice grab by Kelsey Mathis on a pitch that looked, sounded, and smelled like a curveball, but we're not calling it that. Nope. In SEC tournament history, that's 28 years, gang. We're seeing all kinds of history today. Earlier this evening, a stunning walk-off come from behind win for Oklahoma over Arkansas when they hit a record 6 home runs. And they were the first team, what was the stat? 0 for 80 prior to that for teams that trailed by 5 runs. Little Sooner magic. That's a rope off the bat of Kennedy Powell, and Katie Bennett's out there.
And that's a real number. That kind of sounds like an exaggeration when you're just like, yeah, just like 0 for 80. No. That's a real
0
number.
for 80.
Yeah.
That was Powell leading off for the second inning as all 9 came to the plate in that 6-run first.
And then continues to strike the ball well.
Coco Woolley. You talk about chaos creators around the country, and she's on the short list.
One of the best. Knows how to take her walks.
Ball.
But likes to swing away. Has that speed. 15 stolen bases on the year. That batting average, 385.
They are not seeing the same pitcher they did in the first inning. Cam Salmon on in relief for Mac Morgan, who only faced 6 batters. Now that's going to fall in for a base hit. Woolley on board, 2 for 2 with a walk and a single. Scored that first time up. Here's Maya Perez. Ball. Looking at a changeup.
In that super regional, Emily Kennedy pitched a lot, and Tegan Cavan actually didn't pitch as much as Mac Morgan. And I think that that's another reason why they started Mac Morgan in this game, because she had more success against A&M in that super regional. Tegan Cavan, I think, just pitched about 6 innings, and Mac Morgan pitched the most, and Citlali didn't pitch. Citlali Gutierrez hardly pitched at all. I think that's why A&M was thinking that Mac Morgan would get the start today.
Yep. Waits on the change to second. Good. And a miscue at first base. Aggies will have a couple on.
I'm not sure.
A routine play to second.
Yeah, I don't know if Mitchell just thought maybe Good was going to go to second and try to get Woolley. I don't know, but this throw is obviously coming straight to her, almost like she wasn't ready.
Yes.
I think Mitchell thought that it was going to be Good to Stewart back up the middle, because at one point you can see Mitchell's head is down.
And even though Speed didn't hit that ball, Speed is on the bases, and that's the chaos that Speed like A&M can cause. I mean, just knowing that Leanne Good knows that Speed is at first base with Coco Woolley, so she sees her in front of her. She's like, okay, I can't go to 2. She's too fast. I'm going to get an out here, and at least that's what's in her mind, and that's what Mitchell was thinking that she was going to go to. But that's what Speed can do to defensive decision making.
Hey, how about some Sunday night baseball coming your way? The series finale, Phillies and Guardians. It's on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Radio. Coverage begins with baseball tonight. The Sunday night countdown at 6 o'clock. Get a couple of your devices working, because we got our selection show at 7 Eastern, followed by an hour of the 7 innings post-selection show special. We'll break down the bracket, and then we're going to get, going to sit around, going to talk with some players and coaches, and you guys are going to get on that touch screen. We're going to look at some of the big boppers and some of the pitching aces.
Chaos creator.
Maybe a chaos creator, too.
That's right.
Here's Mac Barbara. RBI single in the first.
Just this weird feeling of unknown right now on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday before we get the bracket. It's like, where is everybody going to go?
Yeah, and this is a crazy year. I think in the past you could kind of predict maybe 80, 75, 80%. This year I'm like, no idea. Would love to be a fly on the wall of that room of when the committee's getting together. Hearing what's the most important, how the metrics that mean the most.
A&M so far in this tournament hitting .478 with runners on base. 1-2 to Barbara. Chops to Stewart, who fires over to first. 2 down, but a run scores as Willie comes in. Looked like Stewart with her peripheral took a look home.
Yeah.
And then chose to go 1. So the first 12 games of their tournament history, ooh, wasn't good.
A lot of close games,
Yeah.
too.
And now their last 2. They are trying to beat somebody other than South Carolina here. They're 3-10 all time. I think it was 7 one-run losses, 3 of those in extra innings. So they beat South Carolina last night, and now trying to also win more than 1 game for the first time at an SEC tournament.
What, 7 or 8 years they were 0 for the tournament. It was
Yeah.
like they came in and it was 1 and done.
It was Heartache City.
It was Heartache City. Tough to be a Aggie fan. But there they are. Look at that.
No Gamecocks tonight, but they don't seem to mind. 7-0 right now. Chance to make it 8 for Harper.
I'm thinking about that win last night against South Carolina. All the uncharacteristic defensive mistakes, too, that you saw from South Carolina. A good fielding team. But again, I think that when you scout A&M and you know about their speed, that chaos is already inserted into the mind of a defender. And it causes you to panic. It causes you to rush, to be nervous, to be tight making plays.
Yeah, it causes bad decisions.
Yes, all around.
Right back up the middle. Here comes Perez, chugging for home, and Maya's in there. RBI single for Harper. She's driven in a couple, and it's already 8-0.
Harper, one of the best bats on this Aggie team, and she's just going to get a pitch on the outer half, a screwball that she gets around, drives it right back up the middle. This ball is just hit so hard, but Ashton Maloney, the center fielder, is playing so deep that they're going to send Maya Perez from second base. She's going to score easily. I think in that situation with 2 outs as an outfielder, you got to be playing a little bit tighter in if you want a chance at home.
That's well struck. Straight away center. Into the crowd. Glove love from one of the fans out there on a 2-run shot from KK to Mint. Her second of the night. Driving in 5. And the route is on.
Look, there are a lot of good freshmen in the SEC, and I feel like KK DeMent has just been buried underneath all the rest of them that we've been talking about. Tori Edwards, Nellie McEnroe-Marinas, the list just goes on and on and on. But here KK DeMent has been quietly putting in the work, the home runs, developing this year, hitting for average. Oh, look at the catch.
Oh, it's in the hat.
In the outfield.
Wow, nice.
Oh, and the react. That's awesome.
I think our signatures are on that hat. Weren't they up here?
Yes, they were. So I think maybe I don't need a glove in the
need a
booth. I
hat.
think I need an SEC hat.
Well, we got you a duck if you needed some help catching a foul ball up here. We did
maybe
get you that.
Her helmet, she'd feel more protected.
There it is.
There it is. The duck.
Duck, you see the bullseye there? That's where the after Scarborough Duck, that's where the ball hit. So we got her a duck with a nest up there above it. Oh, look out.
Yeah, and in case anybody forgot,
There she
or
goes.
hasn't
Bye-bye.
seen it.
Poor
Bye-bye.
Kevin Brown, he walked away in shame.
Yeah, he did. I have heard more about that foul ball, then I think about my wedding a few years ago. I mean, I've gotten more people talking about that than anything else in my entire whole life.
Here's Allie Enright. It is 10-0 A&M.
But in all seriousness, I really don't think KK DeMent has gotten talked about enough, you guys. Her defense at second base, with how smooth she is, that pop off of her bat. 2 home runs today, my goodness.
And you know who loves that?
13th on the year.
Tricia Ford.
Yes.
Because she wants the Aggies. She told us, I want a big old chip on her shoulder. You know, they're ranked #1. Their RPI's #1. Their KPI's #1. They're probably gonna be #1 in the NCAA tournament, but she just loves them playing as underdogs, playing a little angry, a little feisty. Yeah, that's how they've showed up to take on Texas tonight.
Okay, and so if you are the 1 national seed, how do you create that chip? I mean, what would be the motivation there? Nobody really thinks you should have that 1 seed. I mean, where do you go from there?
Oh,
right?
she already told us that. That's what she was going to tell them.
She'll find something. She'll find something.
Yeah, she already said, oh, trust me. Yeah, you got it, but you don't deserve it.
Back up the middle, and a base hit for Enright.
Well, and I think, quite frankly, they've been under-talked about the whole year. They've been, you know, just chipping away, putting in work, getting big wins, no bad losses, and it's their resume when you really look at it that stands out the most, with their top 25 wins and their RPI.
Yeah.
And their strength of schedule.
And their strength of schedule.
Tricia Ford is not afraid to schedule that non-conference, you know, she wants to battle. She wants them iron tough.
Boy, now the challenge for Mike White is how do we handle the pitching staff here moving forward? He's got to make another change. And it looks like Citlali Gutierrez will come on back to the SEC tournament. May just be meeting tomorrow if the score stands. SEC teams dominating the RPI. You're going to hear a lot about them on the selection show. They may have as many as 8 or 9 of the seeds. Of the 16 seeds, you may see half the field hosting. 14 teams will get in. Missouri is the outlier. They do not have a 500 record. As Citlali Gutierrez comes on.
Gutierrez, just a lot of spin, good experience. Is usually strong coming out of the pen. They've used her a lot more in relief than starting games this year. Mike White likes the way she is able to warm up, come into games and pressure situations.
Obviously, there's a lot of pride. There are still outs to work with, guys, but how do you even start to dig out of this hole? Not just physically, but mentally. Down 10-0 to your rivals.
Yeah, it's hard. They're going to have to take it just 1 inning at a time and 1 at-bat at a time against Emily Kennedy. I mean, it looked like, too, Cam Salmon was going to get things back on track. When she came in, she struck out the first 2 that she faced after the KK DeMent home run, 3 up, 3 down, and then A&M's adjustments in the 2nd inning against her.
Gutierrez facing Este with 2 outs. They sent 9 to the plate in the first. Here's the 8th to the plate in this 2nd inning. Ball. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Out in front.
you think too, with this 10-run lead, how's Trisha Ford going to structure the pitching situation moving forward?
Do we see Emily?
Will we see her pitch the third, and then maybe come out and just get her ready for the championship game? The other side of that.
Yes.
Eshte, there's another deep drive, and at the wall it stays in. A hat from a fan fell onto the warning track, and a triple for Eshte drives in another.
Well, Kramer Eshte is going to drive this pitch a very long way. She does not have a home run on the year, but takes an inside pitch. It looks like it's going to leave the park. Kaden Henry goes up. Actually, it hits the young girl's hat and then comes back in.
That's fan interference.
Yeah.
That was catchable by Henry. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, because she's in the field to play.
Or would it have been a home run?
Or would it have been a home run, possibly. Or it looked like it may have hit the top of the fence based on the angle it was coming down.
Kelsey Mathis, and the 9th to the plate this inning.
Well, we're just in the second inning, and every starter has already reached, with the exception of Kelsey Mathis up, poor thing. Oh, man. Good thing she has that big hat.
Exactly.
She's got the SEC hat. She's got the big T-Mobile hat. She's got options.
Two to Mathis. Pops it up. And that'll take care of the second inning. 6 in the first, 5 in the second. All Aggies tonight. Welcome back to the SEC on ESPN. Got NBA playoff action coming your way tonight at 10 Eastern on ESPN. It's game 3, Thunder and Nuggets. After the Nuggets took the opener, the Thunder with a thrashing of Denver in game 2. So they'll head out west for game 3 tonight, 10 Eastern on ESPN. Great time of year with all the overlapping sports, NBA playoffs, hockey playoffs, baseball and softball in full swing. And it's mayhem. As we head towards the selection show Sunday night and then on to the NCAA tournament. This time next week, we will be playing regionals. How about that? Man. Here's Katie Simmons leading the way for Texas. 7, 8, and 9. So Emily Kennedy does come back out there with the big lead in the to start out here in the third. If you keep her pitch count down, could come back and throw again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oklahoma awaits in the championship. And Mac Barbara's got it.
It was a great job by Mac Barbara not to give up on that ball. Sometimes when they're hit high, you think, oh, they're just going over the net. But here at the Jackets, it's open behind. There's no hangover.
Let's go down to Holly Rowe.
Well, Mac Barbara is new behind the plate. There was an injury in the Aggies lineup, and so they have called on her to come in and catch in the last couple of weeks. And she had not caught in a game since May of 2023. She said the reason that Texas A&M and Trisha Ford knew she could get behind the dish is they actually played San Diego State when she was a catcher, and they saw her behind the plate. So when that injury happened, they came to her and said, hey, we know you can do this. She was a little reluctant, but she's done a nice job back there.
Really nice job.
Well, and it gives them a better offensive lineup as well. With her back behind the plate, they can move Amari Harper from right field to first base. It just gives them a few more options offensively.
Here's Shailene Brister pinch hitting. In the 8th spot in the order.
Well, and one thing I was thinking, Michelle, is that A&M has changed out their catcher really all throughout the year. They've used a lot of different catchers back there, from Dee Dee Baldwin to Olivia Johnson to Grayson Coleman, and then now Mac Barbara. And for the impact on Emily Kennedy, I mean, I always like throwing to the same catcher over and over and over again. And I asked Emily Kennedy if that messed with her at all, and she said she doesn't mind it. She's just so calm, cool, collected about stuff like that. Like, it does not bug her at all. But I was a pitcher that liked the same catcher. How were you?
I was the same. I had my catcher I threw to, and you know, back in the day there was usually only one person that was willing to volunteer to catch. So
I loved my dad catching me when I was younger, and then when a different dad or somebody else had to catch me, I was always so bummed. I didn't feel like I pitched my best. So it really can have an impact on a pitcher and just their comfortability level.
well, the way they move, the way they hold their glove.
Special relationship.
The way they receive.
Karen Johns up here.
Yeah.
She's one of my first catchers.
The way they pamper you pitchers all the time. There's a circle around you for a reason.
That's right.
I thought that was a crown down there. Or a halo.
Halo.
Halo, probably.
Just feel like that.
72 miles an hour. That looked good.
And I feel like that pitch has been called. I don't feel like the strike zone has been very consistent in this game at all.
Full count. Brister lofts that one out to right. Let's go back to Holly.
I was just able to check up on that rule with the fan who was putting the hat over the wall. That could have been called interference. I've been told the stands belong to the fans, the field belongs to the player. If the hat is over the wall, that could have been interference. It is a reviewable play, but given the score, they think the coaches just decided not to review it.
Thank you, Holly. It's not very often that the fans are that close and have access to reach over the wall.
Well, it's still interesting. How do you rule, and which team do you rule for? Do you rule that it was a home run that could have left the yard, or do you rule for the defense that potentially could have made the catch? I guess that's where they review it and say, oh, it's subjective, then maybe she could have made the catch, or no, that was leaving the yard.
But it didn't look like it was going to go out, so it was probably ground rule double or catch, and then, that's up to the SEC review folks. There's Katie Bennett.
Maybe just looking at, does it prevent the opportunity to make a catch? You're looking at it that way.
Yeah. On the playground, that's a do-over. I don't know how you that's how we worked it as kids.
It's a repitch.
It's a repitch.
Absolutely.
Ground ball to second. SEC's in a 1-2 matchup, but as Coach White said, still more at-bats to go. And still more opportunities for their pitchers, to use this kind of tournament and this kind of competition to prep yourself for the NCAAs. Popped up, and the catch is made by Mitchell, who's moved over to third base. Mia Scott has come out.
I don't feel like it's very often that a team plays teams in the SEC tournament the entire way through that they haven't faced in the regular season. And if they faced South Carolina yesterday, Texas today, and if they do go on to win, they faced Oklahoma, and all three of those teams they didn't face in the regular season.
Here's Coco Woolley. Walking a single for her tonight. Has scored twice. A 6-run first, a 5-run second. Both of those innings, all 9 Aggies got up. Mitchell. Got him. And I think they're going to check this one.
Ruling on the field is that the batter is out at first base. Texas A&M is challenging the ruling. Plays under further review.
Close.
I think that one will stand.
Yeah. Ruling on the field is out.
There's another one, close one last night with Coco just getting the front of the bag. I think this one will stand.
Yeah, it's got to be.
After review, the play at first base has changed. The runner is safe.
Wow.
This is Texas A&M's first challenge of the game.
Let's go down to Holly Rowe.
Well, Coach Tricia Ford calls her the most dynamic player she's ever coached. I don't have her base-to-base time. She doesn't know what I've asked her, but she said her 20-yard dash time in the weight room is 2.6, 2.7. She is wildly fast, ladies, and you can see the pressure that puts on you when you're trying to make the defensive play.
So she's on base for the third time tonight, Holly. And here comes Perez with a runner on. Here it is in regular speed.
Just so fast, that turnover rate. And it's interesting too, because when she slaps and comes through the box, she almost pauses. Like there are some slappers that are still like really in motion. She almost has this little pause while she's swinging, and then she still gets going. It's pretty impressive.
Down and in.
I mean, it's her speed home to first is super fast, but it's this instinctual part about her with the way that she runs bases and takes extra bases to see where the ball is, the angle, knowing the defender's arm strength as well and having a good gauge on that. When she can fly, when she gets going, my goodness.
And Perez walks on 4 pitches. Hey, Wednesday night at 8 Eastern, 7 Central. SEC Inside grants you an all-access pass to the SEC softball tournament behind the scenes all day today and the championship tomorrow, and then they'll put it together for you, the SEC Network and the ESPN app Wednesday nights. Pinch runner at first for the Aggies. Scout level. And here comes Barber for the 3rd time.
Well, speaking of base running, I feel like A&M has been a team started to be known for their base running and taking extra bases, and it's something that they work on at practice every day. They even watch film on base running, their own film, and then also film of other teams.
Well, that's how you get better. You know, you learn what you're doing right or wrong, and then you look at what other people doing right and try to implement it.
Self-scout.
And they'll even do a special teams player of the week. So that could be a pinch hitter, a base runner, just a special teams player of the week that they'll award. Again, putting that emphasis on different type of role, especially as a pinch runner, like one that just came in at scout level at first base.
Barber golfs that one out to Henry in center. Woolley will head for 3rd, and the throw is offline. So both parties will be able to advance. Lovell also out to 2nd.
I mean, just like that, it's not every game that you see a fly ball to center field and the runner is going to go 2nd to 3rd on it, and the backside runner also takes 2nd base. Sometimes they're caught sleeping, and then you have runners on the corners.
Well, that's where you have to read the throw, right? If they're going after Woolley at 3rd, you better get to 2nd base. Otherwise, Tricia's probably going to be yapping at you when you come back in the dugout. But you do see that a lot, to your point. You do see a lot of runners that will advance in front, and the trail runner does not advance, and you're like, what? Are you spectating what's going on?
Yeah,
exactly.
From Gutierrez.
And one more thing, Michelle, that Coach Ford had said is that she feels like it's usually the difference, that it's not just about one home run. It's usually about a random second inning, taking the extra base, getting yourself in scoring position, especially, you know, in the games that matter the most.
Harper hits that one a long, long way. And Amari's got a 3-run homer.
Wow. How about a single, a double, and now a 3-run home run for Amari Harper. The junior has just been blasting a .390 batting average. And she's taken the ball out of the park. That is an off-speed drop that is just elevated, and she is not fooled whatsoever. Gets right into that ball. Immediately, you knew it was leaving the park. How about 251 feet, 76 miles an hour off of the bat. All smiles for the Aggies.
And we got another pitching change coming up, and dancing an awful lot with Homer the Horse and the Howdy Hat. Most runs scored in a single SEC tournament, and A&M has a couple more at-bats tonight. Looks like they'll be playing tomorrow. As it stands, it's the biggest win in SEC tournament history. And here's Sophia Simpson. 4th different pitcher tonight. So yesterday it was 12 runs in a run-rule win, and already 14 tonight in what is shaping up to be a run-rule win.
Well, again, their last game against Tennessee, they scored 13. So it's 13, 12, and now 14.
It's just a lot.
Is that 39?
Are you doing math again?
Well, that's why I was quiet for so long. I was counting in my head. Carry the 2.
Wait, I think you're right. You got it.
Simpson's the senior. Bellevue, Texas, in for a strike. And a strikeout. That'll end the inning. 3 more up for the. Oh, that's what happened earlier today, and it's shaping up to be a showdown with the Sooners and the Aggies. And with the selection committee also looking on, it may just be an SEC championship on the line and possibly the overall #1 seed for the NCAA tournament. That's how the numbers match up. RPI favors A&M, but Oklahoma has 18 wins to match them against the top 25, and may just come down to the head-to-head tomorrow. Texas still some at-bats to work with. They'll get swings at least in the 4th and 5th innings. Still Emily Kennedy out there. You guys a bit surprised?
I am.
I am as well.
And I was going to say, remember this game started with a leadoff single by Ashton Maloney. Next batter turned into a double play, and it just seemed like from that minute on, it's been all A&M. Oh, on the first pitch of the game. Look at our crew.
Yeah. Retired 8 straight since.
And a base runner here as Maloney's on board. Don't forget, we got the NWSL coming your way with the Chicago Stars and Washington Spirit tomorrow afternoon on ABC, 12:30 Eastern. Also on ESPN Plus and available in English and Spanish. Henry just missed it.
I would love to get into Coach Ford's brain and hear where her head is at when it comes to leaving Emily Kennedy in, because she has a reason for everything. I mean, obviously it's not just, oh, I forgot to even think about it, so I just, you know, just kept doing what we were doing.
Or it could be big picture and some of the younger arms, other arms, the opportunity to potentially start that game. If A&M gets a lead, would you see Kennedy? Maybe, you know, a lot of different ways you think, especially if you're looking long-term to Oklahoma City.
And she's pitching well. Maybe just want to continue to build her confidence. She's going at these hitters, just want her to continue to keep this momentum and rhythm.
Well, and when I'm saying big picture, like maybe she doesn't want to show Kennedy to Oklahoma before the World Series.
It's a great point.
Kennedy. Not going to get her, and a couple on base now for Texas.
Kaden Henry is just so fast. Hit off the end of the bat, and Emily Kennedy's a good fielding pitcher, but that ball had so much spin on it. She has to turn as a lefty to make that throw, and Kaden Henry just has blazing speed down the line.
Here's Mia Scott. Mia lined out to left her first time up.
And of course, Reese Atwood is on deck, and she can change the look of the game and the feel of the game in a big hurry. That changeup's looking better, Michelle.
Yeah.
Scott drills that one out to center. Enright is there. Throw into third. And Maloney sliding in safely.
Well, there's the situation we talked about earlier. In the other half of the inning, Texas A&M, both runners advanced. In this particular situation, Kaden Henry did not. Now, granted, she may have been going halfway because she was potentially thinking, I can score if it gets over Enright's head. But in that situation, you have to read it. If it looks like she's got a beat on it, once the throw goes off going after Maloney, then Henry needs to follow and advance.
Here is Atwood. Reese already their career RBI leader, inching closer to their career home run lead. Taylor Hoagland is 7 ahead of her. And of course, Reese just a junior. Over 200 ribs, 20 games this year with multiple RBI. Coming into the weekend, she was sitting on a single-season slugging percentage record, trying to break the one she set last year. Henry with a swipe of second, uncontested.
It's always impressive when you can back up a season like Reese Atwood had last year with just a very similar looking season. Top 3 finalists for National Player of the Year, and just continue to be consistent and steady.
Base knock, and that'll bring a run home. That's going to get 2 in. 2-run single for Atwood, and Texas is on the board.
And that's why she's the RBI leader. Just very smooth. It's going to take the pitch she's given in her half, just drives it right through the 5-6 hole, and because Henry just stole that base, a couple of runs come across for Texas.
It's just unfortunate, you know, because there were 2 on because of what I would have called an error by Kennedy Powell over at first base to start the inning. Bounced off of her glove, a play that she needs to make, and then that miss hit off the bat of Caden Henry. It's by far the best hit ball off the bat of Texas tonight by Reese Atwood.
I'll bring up Katie Stewart, a strikeout victim her first time up. Here's this week's Sunday Night Baseball matchup. It's the series finale between the Phillies and the Guardians. 7 Eastern on ESPN, Deportes, and Radio. Our coverage begins at 7 Eastern. And 6 o'clock with baseball tonight's Sunday Night Countdown. Also Sunday night, our 2-hour selection show. Starts at 7 on ESPN2. One to Stewart with 1 out. Fouls another one off.
Katie Stewart struck out on a curveball / rise ball in the outer half. They continue to go on that side, that arm side of the plate for Kennedy. But Stewart has been taking cuts at those. You just kind of know when you go up where you're getting attacked. Those are the ones you got to look for. Hasn't quite barreled it up yet, spinning off that a little bit.
This is upstairs, full count. And Stewart draws the walk.
Kennedy was cruising first time through the order. Texas making it much more difficult on her in this second time through.
Yeah.
Beautiful night here in Athens, out at the park with your doggy.
I like the way that they opened up that left field fence here at Georgia to be able to be like a see-through field, kind of like Gainesville and Florida's field. I like that area. And of course, I really like the area behind the fence.
Just wanted to see
patio.
the puppy again.
Yeah. I want to see the weight room. I want to see the batting cages, the dogs, the beautiful team room and locker room back there.
Incredible. $38.5 million, I think they said.
It's so nice back there.
Not the cost of the dog, the facility.
Oh,
The pup. Yeah, pretty incredible facilities here at UGA.
Mitchell just keeps fighting to stay alive. Driven in 6 in the last 3 games, including one against Ole Miss last night, and an RBI opportunity here. There's the 1-2 from Kennedy. 2-2.
Going more to that drop ball. You can tell how she's finishing over the top of it with her palm down, getting over the top of that pitch. It seemed like she was relying a little bit more on her rise ball earlier in this game.
Well, now the count goes full. These two batters in a row that started out 0-2 and fighting back to a full count. Couple on base. Couple runs already in. Ground ball to short. They get one. Over to first, not in time. 2 down.
KK DeMent has such good hands at second base, whether she's fielding a ground ball or look at this quick transfer. Boom, to get rid of it to her bare hand. I mean, she's just so good at the way that she receives balls and transfers it to her throwing hand on a quick play like that. It's almost like the ball just never even stops. It just changes direction.
Swing and a miss from Katie Simmons. Katie popped up behind the plate. Back in the third. She's got Adea Wallace down at third base. Another RBI opportunity here for Texas. Runners at the corners.
And 35th pitch of the inning coming. They have made Kennedy work hard in this inning.
This is your rival. If you're Texas, right, you got one job to do. I want Texas A&M to stay here all night long.
I say I was going to catch that.
And try and tire them out.
100%.
It's definitely been the tourney of the foul ball.
Yes, it has.
And a lot that have come up this way. A lot of rise ball pitchers sending foul balls straight back up here.
Oh, 2 pitch.
And we've seen some, to your word, Beth, fabulous changeups
Fabulous changeups.
this tournament.
Boy, this inning, 37 pitches for Kennedy, and now up to 75 on the night. Weasel under it, and she makes the catch. Big lead for A&M. Let's talk to their head coach when we...
Always a reason, you know?
You said that earlier.
How about a
always a
record-breaking
exactly.
day at the SEC tournament, guys? First it was Oklahoma, most home runs and largest comeback win, and now it's A&M. Most runs in a first inning, most runs in a game, most RBI in a game. Amari Harper with an RBI double, an RBI single, a 3-run home run. Here's Enright, bottom of the order. And then the top of the 5th would be the last chance for Texas. Try and cut the deficit under 8.
That changeup Sophia Simpson has had her entire career, and I remember hearing about that changeup. Remember her mom taught her that pitch.
Yeah.
Her mom was a pitcher. I think she puts a couple of knuckles on it.
That single-handedly beat Arkansas in that super regional.
Oh, man.
And when she throws it for a strike, forget it.
Terrific freshman season. Picked up a huge win to knock Arkansas out at home and advance Texas to the World Series. But what Tricia Ford talked to Holly about, I mean, it gets back to what we were talking about earlier in the game. You know, are we going to see maybe that one big arm have to carry a team a little bit more in the NCAA tournament than in years past. You're going to have to perhaps pitch back-to-back, which you haven't done a lot of in the regular season.
Well, and I think you have to build up the resiliency of that ace, right, who may not be used to getting touched up. And part B to that story is the offenses have to come through and be able to score multiple runs to help out those pitching staffs that are probably going to give up multiple runs.
How about Sophia Simpson coming in here?
Second strikeout, second consecutive strikeout for Simpson.
One down.
Let's see the way that ball just tumbles out. Really good location, hard to identify.
Here's Kramer Echte. Had an RBI triple in the second. Or excuse me, Frankie Razel, who came on defensively, now going to swing.
I think there are going to be a lot of high-scoring games and just slugfest, throwing punches in the postseason because of just continuing the conversation of what you guys were talking about. If that #1 pitcher is going to be throwing a lot, they're going to be a little bit more tired. Teams are going to have more looks in them, and offense has just been exploding this year in general.
Oh, swing and a miss. 1-2. Frankie was really good in their Arkansas series this year. Went 4 for 6. Aggies added 9 freshmen. 2 down.
She came in when Amari Harper got hurt earlier in the year. It was a spark plug for their offense.
Due up in the 5th, which might be the last chance for Texas. They're 8, 9, and 1 slots. Otherwise, the Aggies will rule them and move on to the SEC championship and a date with Oklahoma. Those two did not see each other in the regular season.
Well, Sam Landry should be obviously fresh. He did not throw today for Oklahoma.
That would be a matchup of former national champions. 8 for Oklahoma, 2 NCAA titles for A&M. They've also got an AIAW championship from the days before the NCAA in the 70s and early 80s. One-two to Mathis from Sophia Simpson. Well, they won a conference championship in 2008 in the Big 12. That's also the last time they hosted a Super. They will be amongst the favorites to return to the World Series for the first time since 2017. As well as winning another national championship. Got to go back to the 80s.
The highest seed that A&M has ever had in its history was 4 back in 2007. And then in 2005 and 2008, they were the 5 seed. And hosted 3 super regionals all time. The last time that they hosted a super regional, Tricia Ford was in the other dugout with Stanford as the pitching coach in 2008.
Those titles under Bob Brock in 83 and 87. That Sean Andaya.
Sean Andaya. Man, she could throw a mean
zing
rise
it.
ball. Yep. Lori Stahl, lefty.
Yeah. 1-2 pitch. Mathis out the center. So here we go. Last chance for Texas when we come back.
The 2025 SEC Softball Tournament on ESPN2 is presented by T-Mobile 5G Home.
Semifinals here at the SEC Tournament. It's been a big night for Texas A&M. And the run rule is in effect now as we head to the top of the fifth. Last chance for Texas. If they don't get this under 8, it is over. Winner goes on to the championship tomorrow against Oklahoma. The top-seeded Sooners, a dramatic comeback win. They walked it off with a home run to beat Arkansas tonight. Emily Kennedy trying to go the distance. Tricia Ford telling us she wanted to see how Emily did back-to-back days. Something they might need to call on her to do in the NCAA tournament.
She pitched a lot last year, not as much this year, a lot more help behind her.
Brister, fly ball to right, one down.
Which has been a big help for her, and the depth of Texas A&M and all the different positions, including in the circle, so that she didn't have to throw as much. I mean, she was pretty spent in that Super Regional, still competitive, giving everything that she could. But when you're facing the #1 team in Super Regionals last year, she's still going, throwing a ton of pitches, but at some point you just get a little bit tired.
Well, and sometimes for power pitchers, you actually throw better. I know this was the case for me. I always threw better on my second day because I wasn't throwing through my spins. I wasn't trying to over muscle the pitch. And when you throw through your spins, you lose your movement. So, you know, that's part of it. I think the other thing, though, tonight, her control is far better than it was last night. Yeah. She had a lot of free passes last night, a couple hit batters, just the one walk this evening against Texas. You know, all that little stuff matters.
This would be big for the Aggies. They have never reached the SEC championship game. And one of the cool stats about getting to the finals, 9 of the last 12 SEC tournament champions springboarded into the World Series. So 9 times in 12 years, you win this tournament championship, you go to OKC. The confidence you get from winning what is the toughest championship out there.
Just think this A&M team is just tough to beat. And that's shown in their resume with their top 10, their top 25 wins, and no bad losses. I mean, I think that they just find different ways to win. Sometimes it's a close game. Sometimes their offense scores a bunch of runs, and it's their power. Sometimes it's their speed. They kind of just do whatever it takes to figure out a way to win that day.
Well, when you have a lot of different weapons to rely on, it's hard to defend against, right? So the opponents trying to pick how they can battle against them. It's difficult. You know, the lineup is very diverse in the sense that they hit for average. They've got a lot of speed. They have power. So, you know, every one of those aspects of a hitter is a different way as a pitcher that you pitch against them. It's a different way that your defense has to set up against them.
Fly ball out to left, 2 down. Last chance now for the Horns. Ashton Maloney. First pitch swinging, fouls that one off.
Well, A&M finished in second place in the SEC. They'd lost a game to Georgia right here on this field. They got rained out in a Monday night game. They had won the first 2 games pretty handedly, in control of that series, and then ended up losing that game and didn't play it. And they fell behind Oklahoma, what, by a half game, Beth? Is that how you say it? Yeah. Got second place. Oklahoma gets first.
1-2 pitch. And a base hit for Maloney. That's her third single of the night. Passes the bat to Caden Henry. Caden singled, stole a base, scored her last time up. Right back to Kennedy, and that'll do it. Complete game win, a 5-hitter. And Texas A&M beats Texas to set up a 1-versus-2 showdown for the SEC championship with Texas A&M and Oklahoma. Blasting their way tonight, a 6-run first, followed by a 5-run second. That was all she wrote. And they have back-to-back run rule wins in the SEC tournament. 12 runs last night, 14 tonight.